further on the bill before the chamber? Good morning, Senator Summers.
Good morning, Madam President. I rise for a few comments on this bill. I know it is early in the morning, so I will try to make this as quick as possible. What we have in front of us tonight, or this morning, I should say, is a 300-page bill that most of us just received. And although it may have been worked on in certain committees, this bill, which intimately affects public health, never came to public health and never had a public health hearing. So how does this bill affect our state? Does it improve the public health of the citizens of Connecticut? I say no. What this bill does is legitimize and validate the use of an addictive drug, while at the same time, this state is spending $160 million a year minimum on addiction services. The word legal translates to many as safe, but today's marijuana is very different and anything but safe. This is not just my opinion. This is the opinion of the World Health Organization and many, many medical associations. Remember how we've all heard we need to believe in science. Science says marijuana is addictive, it's potent, and it's a class 1 drug. It's in the same classification right now as heroin. The marijuana of 2021 is highly potent, and it can be mind-altering. It is nothing less, at this point, than a public health emergency crisis on the verge of emerging. It is a drug that has been reinvented and remarketed to create a sense of normalcy and acceptability for elected officials to garner votes looking for revenue for their states. Its acceptance is literally being distorted as social justice. Many minorities, and this is a fact, have paid an unreasonable price for selling and using marijuana in the past. That is wrong and it is unfair. But legalizing this drug does not lessen the adverse impacts of it, and it does not correct the past. I can fully understand decriminalizing marijuana, and I believe in that. But that doesn't seem to be enough. This state wants to absolutely enrich itself in a profit model, supporting a product that can cause serious addiction and mental health conditions, specifically in children. The same industry that brought us Joe Camel is now itching to enter into the marijuana market. The folks behind cigarettes that were once, quote, good for digestion are now literally months away from being able to buy marijuana facilities that will sell recreational marijuana. And I have to believe that all of us in this circle and in this building would never have allowed tobacco to get where it is today if we have known then the effects that we know now, especially with tobacco use. Legalization of marijuana means great risk to our most vulnerable. They stand the most to lose with this legislation, and they stand the most to lose in the world of addiction. They're losing, or the vulnerable is on the losing side of this bill, for profits and for revenue. And this time it's our state that is the entity that is profiting. It's a disaster in many people's opinion, waiting to happen for the health of our children. And my comments are specifically on children. Children in our schools, particularly those with developmental issues, will be easily able to ingest marijuana by edibles, beverages, not to mention vaping. This legislature just this year has raised bills banning flavors on vaping products, such as cotton candy, juicy fruit, and flavored cigarettes and cigars. These are legal products that have been cleared by the FDA. We may not like them, but they're federally legal. Yet now we sit in this circle and we are looking to allow federally illegal products to be made, products that have flavors like juicy fruit, gummy bears, lollipops, and that at times are indistinguishable from candies that kids normally see in some place like a CVS, a supermarket, or a convenience store. If that's not hypocrisy, I don't know what is. How do we handle an explosion of another addictive substance in our schools when we can't even handle the current addiction issues that we have? How do schools handle children that are suspect of being under the influence? And why would we consider saddling parents with yet another worry and concern? Right now, I see this as the state of Connecticut becoming the impetus and the beneficiary of drug dealing in the state of Connecticut for financial reasons only. If we were not going to be making money off this product, we would never entertain the thought of legalizing it. The legalization will only add more misery to those who are already most vulnerable. The long-term costs cannot be weighed, and I think it will imperil our future for our children. This is simply a seamless expansion to the addictive habits of smoking. Legal tobacco, for everyone's information, killed 500,000 Americans last year. That is 10 times the deaths of illegal drugs. As legalization continues, we've seen in other states that kids aged 12 through 17 have increased their use of marijuana significantly. It's tripled. Marijuana use disorder, does that sound familiar? Opiate use disorder rates have doubled. The CDC has shown that 1 in 6 children under the age of 18 becomes addicted, and 1 in 10 adults becomes addicted. In states such as Colorado, emergency room calls for children newborn to 8 years old have increased 3 times since the legalization of marijuana. And legalization of marijuana in no way impedes the market for illegal marijuana. The opposite is true. It actually grows the market because the taxes are so high on legal marijuana that the black market continues to thrive. I just want to share with you that Electric Boat just won a $64 million Navy contract for overhaul work. Major employers made their thoughts clear to the governor's office and to those who were crafting this bill, and I thank them for the language that is within the bill. But I have to tell you, they are adamantly opposed to this bill. And I am concerned that being one of the largest employers in the state of Connecticut, when we still have not recovered our jobs from 2008, that it puts their contracts with the Navy at risk to have the legalization of marijuana pass in the state of Connecticut. All things being equal, when we're competing against Virginia with a higher cost of business in the state of Connecticut, when we have legalization of marijuana, regardless of what anyone says, it puts us at risk to lose Navy contracts. So why are we doing this? What is the push? This bill never went through public health. It never even had anyone from public health asked to weigh in on it. We're doing this because this legislature simply cannot get enough money to sustain its spending problem. Perhaps the public health crisis in the state really is spending, and we should consider that. We haven't recovered the job losses from 2008. We have the second highest debt per capita in the country, one of the highest tax states in the country, and the highest unemployment rate in the country. This bill may generate $80 million in revenue, but the costs will way outstrip any kind of revenue we'll see come into the state of Connecticut. And the irony cannot be missed on this bill. Passing a bill for legalization and then taking a portion of that money to fight addiction for the thing that you're legalizing says it all in itself. What other bill do we pass where the revenue that we make from that product, we're going to use a portion of it to fight the addiction on that product? We should be in the state of Connecticut promoting healthy options, promoting living with clear heads. We just heard earlier in the circle today a bill about a navigator, peer navigator for opiates. We had senators in tears over the loss of family and loved ones. Are we going to need that for marijuana? Are we going to need a marijuana peer navigator? I'm afraid we will. Again, this is not the marijuana of years ago when I was a young person. This is highly potent, highly addictive. Now our state is going to be a partner and an enabler in the blurring of the minds, not only for us, but for young children that can have easy access to these products, easy access to gummy bears and things like that that look something normal like they normally would get in the supermarket. We're legitimizing a highly potent, mind-altering drug to collect our little piece of gold that we may get from it, to fund our bureaucracy in a state that has forgotten about the most vulnerable and lost its way on this bill. It is time that we look at the true nature of what this can do. This is not simply just legalizing marijuana. Look at the bill. It's pages and pages of who makes money off of who. And we are forgetting about the most vulnerable, our children. And I think that's really, really sad. So with that, Madam President,